This is all over the internet, and you would think that they would never publish this, especially on something like WebMD. But since 2007, this has been well known regarding blood pressure. And that is this: a particular type of chiropractic adjustment can lower your blood pressure. In fact, it is so effective that it's equivalent to taking 2 hypertensive medications. Now, the study, of course, was a small study. It included 50 people. 25 people got an adjustment, and 25 people did not get an adjustment. And of the 25 people that did get an upper cervical adjustment, the systolic, the first number of your blood pressure, went down an average of 14 points. The second number, the diastolic, went down 8 points. Now, the idea behind how this works is the upper cervical, this would be the back of the head. So this person is facing this way. This would be the back of their head right here. And you can see that there is a bone right underneath it, right there. And that is called the Atlas, because the Atlas is the mythical Greek god. Well, the skull is considered the earth, and the Atlas is the guy holding it up, the Greek mythology guy. And so the Atlas allows a lot of rotation. So when we turn our heads left and right, that primarily occurs at the upper cervical spine. Now, the challenge is there are arteries called vertebral arteries, and that's the red thing that you see right here, going up at the 6th cervical vertebrae. There's 7 bones of the neck, but it doesn't go through the 7th, it goes to the 6th all the way up. And you can see that it makes if you focus in on that, it makes a very sharp turn at the Atlas before it enters the actual brain. And there are 4 arteries that supply blood to the brain. 2 are the internal carotid arteries, and the other 2 are the vertebral arteries. And the thought process behind it is that any malposition or lack of proper movement of this upper cervical can actually affect blood flow to the brain, as well as a strong neurological problem, because any misalignment or lack of movement will affect the spinal cord, that it goes down through the hole in the skull, through down here, and that's where the yellow is. One is blood flow, and the second is neurological influences on our blood pressure. Now, I'll put a link down below, but this study was published in the Journal of Human Hypertension. You could look it up on PubMed and various places, but again, I'll put a link. And so the question arises is, they were supposed to do another study, a bigger study, and this has been since 2007. I wonder who's opposed to it. You never know. But the reason the NUCA procedure was done is because it's considered a gentle style of an adjustment that is so gentle that it wouldn't attract much attention, especially on YouTube, because there are super gentle types of adjustments like NUCA, and there are super aggressive adjustments where people are basically putting ropes around people's necks and yanking them across the room. And so those adjustments right there tend to naturally get more hits, which is the reality, and it's more exciting when the person wears a bikini or something like that. But the NUCA adjustment is so gentle that you can actually do a sham adjustment. Now, the interesting thing within the chiropractic profession is this has been going on for a lot longer than 2007. In fact, I primarily use Gonstead adjustments, especially on the upper cervical region. That's the neck up at the top. The Atlas, I find that the Atlas, you can really rotate people's heads, but it's risky and it scares people. But if you do a side-to-side adjustment that allows the rotation, it's much more gentle. The second thing sometimes I will use is an arthrostim, which can be more, again, on the gentle side, more closer to a NUCA type of adjustment, where the patient actually does feel a very gentle tapping. The problem with a Gonstead adjustment or an arthrostim adjustment is it's very difficult to study because you can't fake it. The patient knows that they're being adjusted or not being adjusted. You can't tell someone, hey, we just adjusted you, and they're like, you never touched me, you know? So it's hard to do studies where you fake it. It's easy to give someone a pill of a drug and then give someone another pill that's sugar pill and study that. So studying chiropractic is a little bit difficult because it's hard to have a group that thinks that they got a treatment, a placebo. The only way to do it would be to have someone not get treatment and another group that gets treatment. But it is fascinating that I've been in practice for 26 years now, and I have had many patients that their blood pressure goes down and their drugs have to be altered for their high blood pressure simply because we start to improve their health. Now, in clinical practice, it's different than a study. In a study, you can only have one variable in order to find out if that variable made a difference. So you can only adjust them. But when you start adjusting a patient, and I've done this many times where you take the blood pressure of a patient, you adjust their upper cervical, you immediately, quickly take their blood pressure again, and the blood pressure drops like a stone. Long term, you also will try to encourage the patient to do some type of deep breathing on a daily basis to reduce stress. You will ask the patient to do some form of exercise like walking. You will try to negotiate a diet in there with the patient depending on how willing they are to do it. But it is interesting, this study that was done in 2007 was over a period of 8 weeks. So the patients got treatment for 8 weeks. What are your thoughts on this? Have you seen a chiropractor? Have they adjusted your upper cervical spine? Have they taken blood pressure before and after? Have you changed your diet? Have you changed your lifestyle? Blood pressure, despite the fact that there's, in some patients, there can be a genetic component to it, is very controllable through natural methods. So let me know what your opinion is. And as always, as every YouTuber ends their story at the end, thumbs up, subscribe, yada, 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 bell notification. You know, just go ahead and help me out with the algorithm. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.